Hi everyone, it's Roger here from What's on Disney Plus, and I'm here with Erik and Glenn from Flavorlab, who are behind Turning the Tables with Robin Roberts, which recently was added to Disney Plus. Now, I wanted to ask you guys, what was your inspiration for creating the music for this Disney Plus original?
Well, there was a executive producer on the show named Kadeen Ankle, who was the one she was the showrunner on the show, and she put together the whole thing with working with Robin Roberts to putting the whole show together and stuff. And it was part of the equation too. She had a vision for sort of the theme, and it wound up being 4 different themes for each episode of the series.
Cool. And how did the inspiration of those songs come about?
It came about, well, at first she really wanted to have a sort of spiritual, empowered woman. You know, it was about womanhood and her interviewing all of these powerful, iconic women. So she wanted an iconic theme and something that went from like sensitive to strength. And so we wrote a bunch of, when we had our first initial meeting, we wrote a bunch of melodies, and I was like really thinking about the strong women in my life, like my mother and my wife, and just the power and the beauty of that and what it meant to me, sort of. So we created a lot of sort of lifting, beautiful, melodic things, and then they came back and said, "All right, scrap all that idea." They hadn't heard anything yet, but they said, "Let's just like write a pop song or something," like, because they put a demo in of some pop tune that they seemed to have liked for a second. But then, fortunately, they canned that idea and then said, "Oh my God, we got to have something spiritual again. Can you write something quick?" And fortunately, we had a bunch of melodies in the bag.
Cool. And so how long did the whole process take for doing the music for this special?
A couple of weeks. Yeah, it was probably something like that. Probably like 4 to 6 weeks, because it was definitely still pre-COVID freedom of the vaccine part of the equation. Yeah. So, yeah, and then when we had to audition some singers, and then we got this really amazing singer, Maya Elka Prado, to sing all of the different melodies, and she was doing it in her kitchen basically, and then sending us the files, and we would send stuff back and forth, and they would cut it into the show, and then we would give them other splits and stuff of all the different instrumentation that we used.
Roger, I would say also, the beauty of this project, one of the great things was Kadeen, the executive producer, brought us on super early in the process. So a lot of times, you know, musically, we're brought in the fourth quarter after everything has been done. In this case, Kadeen was really involved with creatively getting Erik and I on a phone call prior to even, you know, video, doing anything before they even, you know, started the show. So we were really involved in all of these creative conversations. Kadeen had this wonderful vision. We talked about possibly an aria, like a beautiful, like Erik had mentioned, spiritual connectedness, oneness. It was all about love and empowerment with these iconic women. So we were super jazzed to get in the studio, and we had more time than usual to really get creative between Erik and I. So it's always a blessing when we have extra time to flesh out the melodies.
Oh yeah, definitely something like you say, that extra time makes a big difference. Was there anything like you learned differently making this soundtrack to anything else you've worked on in the past?
Well, I think one of the challenges, I think during the pandemic, we got really good at recording remotely. So we were recording all over outside of New York City. And, you know, something Erik brought up was that we had multiple singers. So we were writing these melodies for different singers in different key ranges. So we were transcribing every melody that we were presenting to the client with their key in mind. So we had maybe 4 or 5 singers, and every single demo had to be transcribed into their particular key, because we wanted transposed. Yeah, right. We wanted every vocalist to have the best shot possible to present to Kadeen's team.
And just sort of personally, what was your favorite track from what you've worked on for this series?
Well, I would say one of the things that we learned about in this process of, you know, because we've been like writing for film and television for like 25 years. I always kind of learn like the same lesson over and over, that simplicity and feeling and emotion usually like always win. You know, you can, it's just that simple idea that is really the most powerful, and having so that was like a lesson that you learn over and over again, because you like write something, then you're like, oh, I'm going to make this really big and I'm going to do this. And, you know, it's just like that simplicity of a really strong melody is, you know, where it all comes from and stuff. So, and I would say our favorite one of those, there's a whole bunch of different melodies. I can send them to you. They're all kind of like sort of a lot of different melodies that can be woven over the top of different things and like counterpoint and stuff. So we've created like, there was like, how many did we create? Like 20 different versions of the stuff with all of the splits and stuff for the editors. So they selected the ones that they liked, and I'm not even sure which ones that they wound up really going for each episode. But yeah, that was the kind of cool thing, is that they could be intertwined with one another and built on top of one another and whatnot.
Yeah, that sounds cool. So shifting gears a little bit, I'm going to ask you, if you could work on another like Disney franchise on sort of soundtrack, what would you like to work on?
I think that out of the Disney franchise.
Yeah, so you kind of, you know, got like Marvel and Star Wars, and you've kind of got, you know, anything from like 20th Century Studios, lots of different things to choose from. Just putting you on the spot there.
Yeah, I mean, it would be amazing to work on some sort of Star Wars stuff. And that would be like quite a cool challenge and fun to do. We actually scored a film last year for HBO, this wild card for The Downfall of a Radio Loudmouth, where we got to really, that was also during the pandemic, and we wound up using all of these string players from the Pittsburgh Symphony and recorded it in a church. So anytime you have a chance to really blow it out with a lot of really live strings on top of your other orchestrations, it's super fun, and telling the story with music that way is exciting.
Cool. And kind of the final question really, of what has been your favorite Disney Plus original so far, if you've been watching any?
Let's see, my favorite Disney Plus original. You know, I think I don't know if it was a Disney Plus original one. I think it was like, because they have National Geographic on there.
Yeah. National Geographic.
Was it Free Solo or something? The guy who.
Oh yeah, that was an incredible movie, wasn't it?
That was incredible. That was like, and that, I think I was drawing inspiration from that and several different times, because the guy who also did the score for that was super bad. No, that is an incredible. I mean, the whole thing, like just climb out that El Capitan, just incredible. But yeah, so that just a big thank you just for taking your time out to jump in and just talk to me about like Turning the Tables. I mean, incredible Disney Plus original, and just being able to hear what went into creating that is fantastic. So again, thank you very much for taking your time out to speak to me today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Roger. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Cool, Roger. Appreciate it, man.
Hey, Roger, can we shout out to some of the people we work with? Kadeen Ankle, everybody at Senior Post, Josh Senior, Andrew Rowley, Annie Dugan, who brought us in as well with Kadeen. Everybody was just super collaborative, super creative, super supportive, and just want to give a huge thank you to everybody on the team.